I think AI is like modern day slavery, to be honest. You can use this AI 24/7. You only have to pay for its basic living for it to function. That's all you have to pay for, and it just does your work for you, right? So imagine that, but not only it doing that, but it making money for you. Like that's like the main premise of this goal, right?
I probably assume that all of us plays video games when we're small, right? So how do you transition yourself into rather than a consumer to become like a creator?
I wanted to make money for me.
People are debating whether AI is going to replace everyone. On one side, you have like Elon Musk who are saying like AGI are going to take over the world. Where do you stand in this debate?
It could definitely happen, man. Like that would probably be a while, to be honest.
For those who really don't have a clue about stock, could you like briefly summarize in a couple of sentences what you are currently building right now with this AI bot?
Yeah, so
guys, before we start the podcast, just want to mention that me and Josh actually took some time and created a value dot, which is linked in the description, which contains all of the resources and tips mentioned in the video.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Z-Lane. Today we have Joshua here, who is a classmate right now as we're doing the CMU pre-college program AI for Humanities. So yeah, Joshua, take it away.
Yeah, I'm glad to have. I'm glad you allowed me to come out on here on this podcast. It's the first time I'm going to be on a podcast, so it's really exciting to talk.
First of many, bro. First of many.
First of many. First of many. Yeah.
So yeah, Josh, why don't you tell the audience about yourself?
Yeah. Well, my name is Joshua Kifkase. I'm a Lakeside student. I'm really interested in computer science, AI, specifically how to use computer science, like specifically how to use AI to trade for me, like an automated trading bot, to make like trade sales and whatnot for me, without any interference from me. Right? I want this thing to work for me. So that's really what I'm interested in, how to make something like that. So, yeah.
Nice. So before we get into, everything, which probably, the audience wants to know a lot more about your experiences and, tips for them. If you have to use 2 words to describe yourself with your personality, what would they be?
Probably like chill.
Chill?
Yeah, chill and motivated.
Nice. Yeah, motivated. So in terms of like, your hobbies, like what, other than, computer science, of course, we know that, you started like an AI club and we'll get into that later on. But what other things do you like to do, like outside of school?
Outside of school, as in like academic still, or like just for fun? Like
just for fun.
Just for fun. All right. Outside of school, I make a bunch of like games. This is not like a school thing. That's not like a project. I just do it for fun. I made a couple Android games, a couple like just bare bone for like maybe I made a Conway's Game of Life once, where I like animated the life of like a germ after like a bunch of time. Right, it was just some fun projects like that. Other than that, I like skateboarding. It's really fun. I'm not too good at it. Can't really do any tricks, but I like it still. Also like fitness, working out. I'm on the football team, so I gotta stay a little fit.
Yeah. So I guess the first overall sector that we can get into is, the part of where you are creating your own games. Like, I think that's pretty mind blowing, especially when you're providing software more right now. So like, what was your overall, motivation of getting into this game development world? Like, what sparked your passion into this?
Sparked my passion. Well, making games is like the easiest translation. Like, it's like, how can I use the knowledge I have right now in coding? And it's like one of the easiest ways to translate my knowledge into like something that I can use or something that I can have fun with, right? It's relatively hard to make something that's not a game with like it's harder to make something that's not a game, to be honest, with like with coding, and like an actual project, and not like some random thing like like let's say you want to like predict something. It's pretty hard to code that. It's hard to translate that. I feel like making games is easier to do to learn how to code. It's a lot easier to learn how to code for making games than bigger projects like that, right? So because I'm still trying to learn, that's my main goal right now, and that's, like I said, just the easiest way for me to learn. Also, it's just fun. I mean, like being able to play the game and like show it off or whatever, like that's just fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like personally like still very curious about this. Like, if you're talking to the normal average teenager, they're probably not a game developer. They probably consume a lot of games. So like, how did you kind of like transition yourself? I probably assume that, all of us plays video games when we're small, right? So how do you transition yourself into being, rather a consumer to become, like a creator mindset?
Wow, I always want to make something, right? Like that's kind of like I guess to answer that question, like way back then when I was a little young boy, my older sibling was making some stuff with like I don't even know what program he was using, what language he was using, but he was making some stuff, and he made like Flappy Birds or something. And I thought it was like really cool that you could create something with some lines of code. I thought it was like magical. So I thought to myself like I want to do that. I want to create things, right? Like it's great to use things, but it's even better to make the thing that you use, right? So after I saw that, like I have things I want to do, and I want to put those, and I want to make those things. And coding does that for me. So that's kind of why I went from like, just using things to making things that I could then use, But besides, if I don't like a game, I can try and make it better by like making the game myself. So that's always a plus.
Yeah, that's always a plus. So yeah, it just shows like, how like, I guess like childhood influence really shapes the person that you become, especially with people that you surround with. So let's talk about, one of your most recent projects called, was it the Android Text Adventure game?
Oh, yeah.
So could you like, briefly, go into, the overall logistics of, how you came up with this idea and maybe, also some future goals of the game?
Yeah. Yeah. So like I've made a bunch of projects on like JGrasp, for example, like, yeah, and these were like Java. These were like Java things, and like I made I simulated like I made like a simulation of like a jungle simulation, I guess is the best way I could put it. It's like where animals were like they interact with each other, and if they're like, let's say a lion interacts with an ant, maybe the lion might eat the ant. The lion might eat the ant, right? Anyway, point is, I was making a bunch of these projects on JGrasp and like things like that. But then I realized like it's cool with JGrasp, it's cool and whatnot, but I want to do something different. I can't be doing the same thing. I can't be using JGrasp I can't be Bluebird. I can't be using these things only. Like I want to branch out a little bit and do something more interesting. So I thought to myself, why not make an app, right? So that's kind of like the reason why behind why I started making some more games on apps. Also, I think it's easier for people to play my games if they're actually apps instead of like just on my computer. So like this app, I could put it on the store right now. Like the way I built it, I could put it there, and most people will be able to play it. So now, yeah. So the main reasons I wanted to do something different, and I wanted people to be able to play my games.
Yeah. So with the app, like, are you going to like for the long term, right? For the long run, are you planning to like continue scaling this project, or just keep it as like a side hobby?
Probably long term, probably be a side hobby because I'm gonna be making another app very soon for my dad. He had like a business venture he was interested in, and he needed like an app for it, and I was gonna help him make one. So I don't have as much time anymore for apps. So this will definitely become more of a side project, and I'll focus more on that.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting and very great to see like, your overall passion with, app development. So let's just say, for example, if there's a listener here who is really passionate in, coding, seeing like creating these cool apps, and they really just don't know where to get started, like what would you say is the overall, best outline just to, get started with some different languages? Like what would you recommend in this day and age with AI and everything?
If you want like a good beginner language, probably Python, to be honest. Pretty simple. Like the syntax is like it's basic. It's pretty similar to just English, so you won't get too confused writing it. But if you want to make more bigger projects, like more complex things, you'd have to move on to like Java or something like that, or you have to upgrade, I guess, your language. But Python is really great too, just for like if I'm making a small project, I'd rather use Python, to be honest, than any other language. Because if it's a small project, you don't need to use more complex language. You just need to use the most efficient one. Yeah. So if you're getting into it, start off with Python. And if you want to learn these things, like you want to learn what to do, there's a lot of courses online, and you can find courses. I know you told me. I think you told me that you took like the Harvard online course. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, those courses are great, man. It's literally just the actual college's classes. Like you're gonna learn what they learn, basically. You obviously won't have the teacher there to guide you, like in like office hours or whatever. But you're gonna learn the same material, and by the end, if you did well, you're gonna have the same knowledge they had from the class, right? So you learn from things like that, and you also learn from actually building things with it too. Like don't just do a bunch of homework problems from like the class or whatever. You have to make projects. You have to do things that interest you. Like you want to make a game about something specifically. Like go make a game about it. If you want to make like ping pong, for example, like the if it's yeah whatever. You want to make like a Crossy Roads. You can make Crossy Roads and all that, right?
Yeah. So like I think another very debatable and very interesting topic with, software engineering and the whole AI space right now is that people are, debating whether AI is going to replace everyone. On one side, you have like Elon Musk who are saying like AGI are going to take over the world in like a couple of years. And on the other hand, you have many other people saying, Elon Musk is crazy and will never get to the point even in, generations with AGI. So I just want to get like an overall, intake here. Like where do you stand in this debate?
Yeah, I think AI can definitely it could definitely happen, man. Like, but that would probably be a while, to be honest. Right now, I don't think it would happen for any in the near future. I think it'll become a lot more advanced. It'll start taking over some more jobs. But I don't think for now like if you're doing something that can be automated by AI, then you should probably spend your time on something more efficient or like more interesting, to be honest. If AI can do it for you, because obviously it's not like the best use of time if AI can do it. So you should be worrying less about whether or not AI can like take your job or whatever, and more about whether or not your job is like I don't know. Like in my idea, in my opinion, if I was working at a place that AI could take over, I want to do another job, not because AI would take my job, just because I don't think the job would be very interesting. Um, but on my opinion that AI could take over soon, I don't think it'd be soon. It would take a while, but after a long time, I definitely think it could. I definitely think it could. Yeah.
Yeah. So referring back to the question of people wanting to get into the software development space, do you think it's still fundamentals to learn Python and Java before moving to assistant tools like SourceGraph to help them code together?
Like help them code.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always you should probably you need your fundamentals first. Otherwise, you're gonna get like it's really not about whether or not you know how to code. It's more about whether or not you have the problem solving abilities than the actual ability to write the code out. Because you can learn how to write the code in like a day. All right, it's really quick. It's more about the problem solving that you learn through like experience. And that's something that's basically just fundamental. Like it takes time to learn that. You need to build that up. And if you don't have that, but you just know how to like write out some things in the language, then it's useless. Like you know how to write in the language, but you don't know what the things mean. Like if you don't have the ability to problem solve, you don't know what those things mean. You really just like saying the words, I guess, or writing the words without knowing the meaning of them. If you don't have the fundamentals. So it's useless to write it out, right? So you need to know the fundamentals. You need to start off with the basics and go on from there.
Yeah, I really like what you're saying here. It's like the fundamentals are always basic. Like even if you want to train the AI when different prompts, you still have to know the fundamentals. So let's just like also now jump into some other projects that you've also been working on. So one of the most recent ones, the one that you introduced in the class, Stock AI. So, for those who really don't have a clue about Stock, could you like briefly summarize in a couple of sentences what you're currently building right now with this AI bot?
Yeah. So essentially this is, well, first I'd like to give you my point on like what AI is to me. I think AI is like, it's like modern day, like it's honestly like a modern day, I don't know how to describe it, man. It's like modern day slavery, to be honest. But morally correct and legally correct. Like the AI has no feelings, so whatever. Like you can use this AI 24/7. You only have to pay for its basic living, well, basic functionality, for it to function. That's all you have to pay for, and it just does your work for you, right? So imagine that, but not only it doing that, but it making money for you. Like that's like the main premise of this goal, right? I want it to make money for me. I don't want to put in like any extra work. I don't want to tell it how to do these things. Or I don't want to like give it my input while it's making the money for me. I just want to make it money for me 24/7 automatically, right? So how that goes on is like you have to make a bot that has a good strategy. It's not too hard to make a bot, but it's really hard to make like a bot with a great strategy. Like you can have like sentimental analysis or DRL, which is like different strategies that a bot can use to predict whether or not a stock price will increase or decrease, right? So if you can build those strategies into a bot and find the best one that will allow it to predict like these stocks, you can make money without doing anything. Like after you give it the strategy, after you give it all the data, you can even find data actually. It can search the internet for data, right? After you make the bot, it just makes you money 24/7 and it never stops working. And you don't got to give it any more input or anything, right? So that's like the main idea behind it. If you want, I can like tell you like some strategies and like explain like sentimental analysis, for example, what that means and whatnot.
Yeah, sure. Just go on and explain some brief strategies here.
Yeah, the sentimental analysis is like where the bot like it can like look for Twitter, for example, and look for like people's opinions on a company, and with those opinions, it'll build like a feeling on a company based off of those sentimental feelings from our people, right? And it's gonna say, okay, a lot of people don't like this company, or a lot of people like this company, and you'll factor that into its predictions, right? And there's also like DRL, which is a broad name for a bunch of deep learning algorithms. Specifically, is like DQN, which is a version of DRL, which like assigns like Q values, which are essentially like key values to past actions. So if a past action was taken and that action had a good result or it had a bad result, it's going to assign a good Q value, higher Q value for a good result, and a lower Q value for a bad result, right? And the size of that Q value is going to be based off of the result, the weight of the result, right? And then it's going to factor that into currently, right? It's going to look at what options can be taken, and it's going to predict what Q values those options have, and it's going to take the option with the highest Q values, right? So if it's in a similar condition to like a prior action that is taken, and it knows that prior action had a good Q value, and it's in that condition again, it's going to take that prior action, right? So that's how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds very interesting, and like again, like reinforcing this point of 24/7 making you money. Like that's just
crazy, man.
Really crazy.
These work. Like this is not a fake thing. If you build it well, it'll make you money.
Yeah. So like with your current bot right now, obviously there's some other companies doing probably similar things because everyone wants to make money 24/7, right? So with your current process, what's like the overall timeline and where are you at right now?
Right now, we're figuring out like how to implement the strategy. Like I said, that's really the most important part. So that's what we're trying to do right now. Our timeline, after we do make a bot, we're not done. Like the first bot we make is not going to be the best bot, right? We're going to be competing against. Well, really, we're competing against like the Wall Street, right? Those guys are already doing this, and they're doing it very well. So that's what we're competing with, right? So the first bot is not going to be the best one. So we're going to keep on working on this. Maybe not the team I had right now because we're going to split ways eventually. But I'm going to keep on working on this, and I'm definitely going to try to figure out what other strategy I can use and how to implement that strategy well, right? So that's the timeline. I'm going to make the bot, and then I'm going to make a new one or make one based off of it that's going to be improved, and I'm going to keep on doing that until I have a really good bot.
Yeah. So with this overall, technology, if at the end you develop like a 24/7 making bot, like what other applications are you looking to maybe, pursue into, in the financial world, if there are any?
The financial world? I don't have to stop at at bots, I could really make, you can make algorithms to predict things without it being a bot. Like, and these algorithms can uh, these things can help you predict the stock market, like what's going to happen. So I can make something like that. That might be a little bit harder, or maybe even easier. Actually, it's a little hard to say, but there's something like that. And actually, you said the question again, real quick.
Yeah, I was saying, like, in the financial world, like, how would you use this technology that you developed from the stock AI?
Oh, how would I use this technology?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really transferable. I mean, like the financial world is already doing this. Like they're already making these bots, like I said. Uh, and the skills that it takes to make the bot, like implementing the strategy for the bot to use, that's the same exact thing a human would do. Like the strategy that the bot is using is the same thing a human would use, right? So, and for me to give the bot that strategy, I have to understand how to make that strategy, how it actually functions, right? So if I go to the field, if I go to get a job without the bot, I'll still know those things. And I'll still be able to implement those strategies, just not for a bot, but for me, right? And I'll have to look for all the data. It'll be a lot more work. I'd rather have the bot do it, to be honest. But yeah, so it's going to be very transferable. I mean, that's what the bot is. It's basically a human with an artificial human. Hopefully, that's the goal. Make an artificial human mind, the artificial human mind. My bad, artificial human mind that will trade for me. That's basically the goal. So yeah,
it sounds exciting. Actually, like wishing you all the best with the stock, and just that maybe like we could do like 5 years later, 1 year later, when this goes up into the market, we get you back on.
If this works, I'm gonna be retiring, man. I'm gonna retire young, man.
Of course, it'll be crazy. Yeah. So I guess transitioning into other fields of your computer science. So you're also the co-leader of a hackathon and CS club in your school right now.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your overall drive for you to co-lead this club, and obviously, like, what's the best experience that you have so far?
Co-leading this club? Well, I was really thinking of first, the main part was the hackathon part. Like I really thought it'd be really interesting to introduce these hackathons to my classmates. Like, because this is an example. Like hackathons are an example of how your code, your knowledge can be made into like a real thing. Like, what's the point of knowing how to code things, right? If you don't actually use them, am I right? So hackathons are a real example of how you can make your ideas into reality, right? And we try to show that. By inviting guest speakers that have already like successful hackathons, right? So these are people that their company maybe was started off of a hackathon, all right? So and now they have a successful company that they built off of this single hackathon, right? They had this idea, they went to the hackathon, they made the idea, the bare bones of the idea, and then they took that idea from the hackathon and made it like a fully fledged company afterwards, right? So how can you make a hackathon and how can you like how can you have an idea and the hackathon be the bridge of the idea to reality is essentially what that club is all about, right? So we join hackathons, we compete in hackathons, right? And the CS part of the club as well. I mean, it's a little obvious. The hackathon part, you have to have CS knowledge to do that. And we also do like some computer science tutoring. So like if you have any questions with computer science, your classes, you can come in, ask some questions. If you have any projects you're building on the side, you can ask some questions for help. Yeah, that's about it.
I guess we talked a lot about the computer science part. So with all of our conversation, what do you actually want to do? Like, what do you want to major in the future? And like, I guess, your overall job, or what do you want to do, right?
I'll probably get a major in like, I'm definitely gonna get something in AI, something in computer science, and probably like a minor in like math or something, or like finance, or even maybe like a major down the line in finance. Like I'm a little split. There's a lot of things I want to do, to be honest. So I have to really pick and choose. Math is very important because I need to be able to predict things. You need to be very good at math. So I would definitely be taking a math class. Computer science and AI are kind of like I can probably find a major that gives me both of those things because they're basically like very similar fields, right? So I'll do something like that, and maybe like a finance minor or something, like a math math minor, something like that.
So getting somewhere in like the fintech world, I guess.
Definitely, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going for.
Got you. So yeah, I guess another thing that I also read from the document that you sent me is you said that you are aspiring to develop innovative AI tools that intersect with economics or medical fields, passionate about leveraging technology to solve complex problems and improve societal well-being. So I don't know if that's like ChatGPT or anything.
That was definitely ChatGPT.
But like, I was gonna say that I really like people who set specific goals.
Yeah, but I told it to write. I told it to write something like that because it is a goal that I have. It's more of a side goal because before I can do something like that, I'll need to have some money, and that's my main goal first. You need to have the money to start thinking about other people first. Otherwise, you gotta think about yourself before thinking about other people. Otherwise, both things won't work out. Anyway, so point is, after I get this thing set up, after I have I'm in a comfortable position, I can start thinking about projects that could help people. Like in our class, there's already a lot of projects that can help people, right? Like the scoliosis thing, where they look for AI that can look for scoliosis. Things like that, right? Maybe there's another medical thing that I want to focus on. I don't have a concrete example right now because I haven't thought about it to the extent, because that's like later down the line for me. But something like that, right? Maybe I could bring education to like AI tutor to people that are more unprivileged that can't get the best educations. This AI tutor would help them get educated with help them get a better education, by providing like this one-on-one tutoring session, right? Something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Got you. So I guess another follow-up question with this is that I personally also get loads of ideas where some ideas come out of my head and I want to build this startup, build that startup. So do you personally use like any specific strategies to kind of choose which project you want to work on, because there's just so many ideas that you can work on, right?
Yeah. I try to keep myself focused on one thing at a time, or one or two things at a time at most. Like if I have other ideas, I'll write them down somewhere and look at those ideas once I'm done with something, or once I'm like taking a break from something, right? If I get too stressed out with my ideas, then work can't be done as well as it should be. So everything I do, I want to have like the best quality in it, and I need to focus on it to have the best quality. So yeah, I try to just write it down, come back to it later once I'm done or I'm taking a break. Yeah.
So do you give like each project? Do you give it like like a 6-month period, or is there like specific?
Yeah, at most it'd be like there's gonna be a time period to it. Like longer projects obviously will have a longer time period, but if by that time I don't have like the progress I want to have, then I'll put it on the back burner a bit, and then I'll start looking at some other projects. I can't zone in. I also don't want to zone in too much on one project. Like you have to strike a balance between the things you're doing, because I'm still young. Like there's no reason for me to zone in on one thing for too long of a time. I want to expand out, right?
Yeah. I think that's something very important for all of the young viewers listening to this, just to test out as many different things as you can and see like what you actually want to do in the future. Because like I think by like speaking with so many different people, you kind of expand your horizons, listening to these stories. So just in general, I also want to also know like what's your overall timeline looking like, a timetable looking like,
Timetable.
Yeah,
like for what I'm trying to plan for the rest of my life, or like
right now, let's just say, for example, we go back to school, like it's not summer session. Like, how's your overall life looking like?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go to school, obviously. After school, I'll be doing some clubs during school. Probably go to some hackathons as well during the next year. And after school, I'm gonna be picking up a new club as well, the finance club. I'll probably try to become like a leader or something of that club. And after school I'll be going to like I have to do my football practice. And then let's see. Other than the hackathons, I was thinking of doing robotics. I'm feeling pretty serious about that too, and doing it. Like, so I might be doing that. I might be going to some of the competitions they have. Like, it sounds really cool, and I could probably transfer my knowledge of coding very very well to it as well. So I think I'd have a decent I'd be useful over there, right? So I'm thinking of joining that club. Yeah. So after school, I'll be going to football practice. Uh, Probably go to a couple of competitions for hackathons, and maybe even some robotics competitions. Yeah, I'll go to some football games, and on the side, I'll be doing a bunch of I'll probably still be working on this project, to be honest, on the side, and maybe I'll have picked up a new project as well. Like I said, I'm going to take the robotics club, so I'm going to be doing some new things over there, and that might inspire me to do something new as well. So yeah, that's more or less my timeline for next year. Yeah.
Yeah, so that actually sounds like a whole lot of different things that you're going to be exploring. So
Definitely.
how would you balance that, I guess, with, your core academics? Like, how much time do you normally spend studying, and any like specific study strategies that you personally find very useful for yourself?
Yeah, I'm taking quite a lot of classes next year for senior year. But all my classes are really focused on computer science and math. Like, I'm even taking like an English math class, which is like so it's like I'm really learning on things that I love. And those studying for those classes are gonna like transfer 100% to my projects, right? So I'll be able to spend less time working directly on my project by learning new things in those classes, and then once I get back to my project, I'll be able to do more work faster. So I'll be able to save some time there by learning some new things in those classes. Yeah. So time management wise, it's definitely going to be a tight schedule, 100%. You just got to work hard though. I mean, that's really it. Use your time properly. Use your weekends. So, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I guess sometimes you just have to sacrifice. You have to make sacrifices.
Definitely. 1 year sacrifice is all right.
Mm-hmm. So just to summarize, if I guess there was one piece of core evidence, or core advice that you want to give to the listeners who are, let's say, for example, a 5-year version of yourself who's younger, or a junior software developer who's like very passionate about this field but haven't really got started, like what would you say is that advice?
First, probably don't worry too much. Just do things that really interest you. And second piece of advice is find places with people that have a similar interest as you, because in places like that, you'll really you'll be inspired, right? Like, you're gonna be inspired to work harder towards your goals if they have similar interests as you, and you'll be inspired by what they're doing, and you'll get some inspiration on what you want to do as well, specifically in that field, whatever you're interested in. So yeah, so be around people that like the same thing you like, and just try to get out there. Try to like see the world a little bit, right? And to sign up for some programs. Don't be scared to sign up for programs, even if you think you may not get in. Who cares? Just sign up. Try to get in there. Yeah, take a risk.
Yep, great. I think this is the way we can end this podcast. So Josh, I really appreciate you, hopping onto the pod. We're definitely going to chase up afterwards. I'm very looking forward to that stock AI. You better let the audience know, in 5 years, you're going to make this public. You're going to be
I'm looking forward to it too, man.
Retired, right? Retired every day.
I'm going to retire soon, man.
But yeah. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Bye.